15, 10, 5, touchdown, Kansas City. Handoff, Damian Williams trying to get to the edge, breaks a tackle, 35, 30, Damian Williams, 20, stays in bounds, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Kansas City. Damian Williams runs to immortality and will be remembered forever in the Chiefs' kingdom. A 38-yard touchdown run, and the Chiefs lead 30-20.
Welcome in to Chattin Up the Chiefs. After Sunday Night Football goes down as a victory for the Kansas City Chiefs, 41-31, and we're here basically to sort of bow to our buddy Brian B. Shinen here, who on our pregame show, he set us straight. He predicted a win while we were, I guess, still somewhere left in a cold, dark seat back in Indy a week ago. Brian, impressive from start to finish. The Chiefs lead from bell to bell, and this one feels really good, my friend.
Man, you left your heart at the RCA Dome at Indianapolis. Is that thing still up or no? I don't know, but
Lucas Oil, I believe.
Yeah, it's Lucas Oil, but the RCA Dome, I wonder if that's still alive, like the Astro Dome.
It's torn down.
It is okay. Well, you left your heart at Lucas Oil. But anywho, look, that's the Chiefs team that we saw from week one. We haven't seen them since. Didn't see them against the Chargers that much. If we for sure didn't see them last week against Indianapolis. But one thing I want to point out is that every time this team is on prime time, every time that there's a big audience, Patrick and Andy, they just seem to be in sync in every level. They show up for the most part. There's been a few slumps. You know, there was the Bills game last year. There was a Colts game in 2019. But for the most part, when this team is in prime time, they are a different looking team. 12 o'clock last week, the noon game, they were asleep at the wheel. Perhaps they were looking past the Colts and towards the Bucs this week. But regardless, different team this week. That was a championship Super Bowl contending team that we thought that we were going to get coming into the season. And they played like it tonight on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, you saw the offensive line dominate out there in the running game. Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting after it. And they really were focused heavily to get the ball to Travis Kelce early in the game. I didn't think we were going to see a throw or a catch from a receiver all game because they were force-feeding Kelce. And nobody told me, and I guess I could have guessed, but coming from me being at Super Bowl 55, going back into that stadium would have just caused tremendous anxiety and PTSD, not for Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, who had a point to prove and came out on fire from moment one. Nobody told me that was going to happen. I should have guessed. Had they done that, maybe I would have predicted a win instead of a 24-17 loss. But Brian, I'm going to stick to you when it comes to predictions. You seem to know what you're talking about when it comes to this team, and I'm too emotional, I guess.
Hey, it's all good. That's what I'm here for. I'm the even kill one. You say even kill, but Kelce was just eating the Buccaneers alive. 9 catches, 92 yards, and the tutty came out on fire. How about the complete opposite from last week happening this week with the fumble on the kickoff return to kick things off, man? When things start off on the right foot, it really does build momentum, or it really does come tumbling down on you. Either way, the Chiefs found a way to get the dub. But yeah, Kelce, what you were saying, just eating all night long underneath. Juju was eating too. He had 5 for 46. The underneath stuff really opened everything up to me.
Yeah, it absolutely did. And just I joked about it in the pregame. Hey, maybe running the ball would help open things up, and it sure did. Noah mentioned the Clyde Edwards-Helaire 19 carries for 92 and the touchdown, but Isaiah Pacheco, this may be, his coming out party today. 11 catches for 63 yards. But not only that, but the kick returns. This is a feared returner now. All of a sudden, 3 returns for 91 yards. And, just seeing what he's just, adapting to this offense and, learning as a rookie here that he could be such an asset here. So where are we with this running game? Because it seems like the offensive line that was much maligned a week ago was in it, dialed in a completely different unit today, guys.
Man, because they took it personal. Blame Shaq Barrett in his comments.
Thank you, Shaq Barrett.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Listen, these guys are grown men, and they take their pride on, not having their names being said, during the game, if you don't hear about the offensive line, that means everything is going well. Well, all of a sudden, they've been some of the subplot of why the Chiefs lost last week. And I really do think that they took those comments personal. And going back to the running game, Pacheco runs very violently. He runs very dangerously. In training camp, when people were saying that they were comparing him to Kareem Hunt, I didn't see it at first. But I think tonight you saw a glimpse of how his balance works. He has great balance, and I thought that was one of the key things that separated Kareem Hunt from other running backs was his ability to stay on his feet, dodge tackles, and you saw that same thing coming from Pacheco tonight. He runs with such a full head of steam too. It's almost like he knows the playbook now, and he has confidence into wherever hole he's going or whatever the play is. So I think repetition and along with him having confidence is really made Pacheco more of a weapon, and I think he's the best running back on this team. You all have heard me say that before.
I definitely agree. Question here from James Davis. Someone still got to explain to me how Sky isn't getting MVS's snaps, and I think that you could point to tonight 2 for 31 for Sky Moore. This is the first game he's had a catch in a couple games. He had 1 catch for 30 yards, I think, against the Chargers there. So I do like what I saw here, kind of atoning for last week. But Noah, is it time to start thinking about giving Sky Moore, a little more of a look? McCole Hardman, he was wide open for a touchdown. Chris Collinsworth said that's a layup. It is not. I would like to correct Mr. Collinsworth. That is anything but a layup. That was going to be a touchdown.
Mahomes couldn't even look over there.
But Mahomes didn't look over there. That's on Mahomes. But that was not a layup. But Sky Moore, do we Hardman's still maybe dealing with this heel injury, so I don't quite understand why he's getting the snaps that he is. You want your most healthy and electrifying players out there. It's time to, because MVS had 3 catches. He had a decent game, and he had the drop on a 3rd down. So it's a time to
a couple drops. He had a couple drops, man. I'm sorry to interrupt, Clint, but MVS has really pissed me off tonight. I'm gonna just be honest with you.
He's our highest paid receiver, so yeah,
he's a career 50% catcher of the football. So you're going to have to get used to that. I said it when he got here. 10 years, 30 million was kind of overpaying. Again, the wide receiver market was reset. I don't know about this throw the ball to McCole. I don't know if Sky's ready to jump MVS on the depth chart. I'd probably still keep MVS there. Sky, give him a little more time, and I think you could see him become our number 2, possibly even number 1 wide receiver, because Juju, to me, isn't really taking that mantle. He's out there. He's showing us what he can do. But as far as a number 1 receiver, I don't know if we've seen it from him so far. MVS, to me, dropping those footballs, that's just what he is. So we just got to get used to it here at Chiefs Kingdom. And I think Sky should jump McCole. You talked about it there. He was wide open in the end zone. Mahomes didn't even look over there. He knows the routes, the progressions, where people are going to be. And he's just like, I'm not looking over there to McCole's side. I'm going to wait for what I know I have over here on the left side. And so I'm done with McCole. Hopefully Mahomes is as well. Just this season, I'm not looking over there wherever he is. I'm done with it. And hopefully we can get Sky some more snaps.
He's injured too, so I'm not sure where he's at right now with that injury. He's out there, so it's I don't know. I don't know where we're at with McCole, but
Noah is done with all of our receivers except Justin Watson. Were you a Garrett Gidder fan too?
I never started with him. So.
No, I'm a Tyreek Hill fan, and here, so I
am disappointed in Justin Watson's productivity. We saw the big play against the Chargers. He's just kind of a guy, a Demarcus Robinson light, which is unbelievable.
He missed a key block tonight as well. Watson did. There was a run, I think it was 3rd and short, where Pacheco, or I can't remember if it was Pacheco or Clyde trying to knife in, but the defensive back, it was a safety. He was right there on the line of scrimmage, and he knifed in and stopped the run play. It was like for a -1. And so, it's little things like that, man, that really, can separate, receivers taking your offense to another level. I made a comment on Arrowhead Allies last week about the receivers actually blocking well, and didn't quite show it right there with Justin Watson. And perhaps that's why Sky Moore and some of the other guys aren't climbing the depth chart as well.
Well, guys, I talked about it in the pregame that, Tom Brady's got healthy weapons back out there. You saw Mike Evans really cause a difference throughout his time in there. Chris Godwin was kind of in and out with injury. And you talked about Rashad Fenton and how that matchup, Brian, wasn't really working out there. And I did know, I predicted that the Bucs would be, better offensively, but they ran the ball like 4 times this entire game. It was very predictable. And what is it with the Chiefs just cannot tackle Tom Brady? We know, and we're going to get to L'Jarius Sneed and the corner blitz, which is the Chiefs just bread and butter right now. But the Chiefs, starting with Breeland Speaks back in 2018, just cannot wrap up Tom Brady.
Yeah, that was a Sunday night football game too. I remember that ultimately cost us that game because they really turned the tide with that touchdown in 2018. But yeah, you saw Fenton miss a sack on Tom Brady. I think one of the D linemen missed a sack too earlier. I don't get it with him. I'm happy we got the dub against Brady, but I don't know, for whatever reason he must have that Denver Broncos
substance
that they had in the 97 divisional game. I don't know what it is with that, but you were able to see the Chiefs really, really, really get after Tom Brady, and you don't really see Brady get hit that much. You really don't. He has great footwork. He knows how to move around in the pocket, but those corner blitzes, man, with Snead coming off the edge, they are really, really, really effective. And I think part of the reason why they are effective is that you do have some decent cornerbacks with good size who are able to really stick to those receivers, at least for the first 3 seconds or so, because Brady was getting that ball out of his hand. So, but those cornerback blitzes definitely were working. They affected Tom Brady on every throw. He was throwing early on some passes. We talked about Chris Jones before the game. The D-line, they were able to disrupt the game a little bit and apply some pressure. Chris Jones, I thought, had an outstanding game. Karlaftis, you saw different things with Spagnuolo dropping the defensive ends back. You saw 56 in coverage. You saw 55. He was in coverage sometimes. And even Clark. I like Frank Clark's game tonight. He was applying pressure. Sometimes it's not all about the sacks and the stats. Sometimes it's all about effing the play up. You got to affect the play. And those things a lot of times don't go on the stat sheet. But great team defense. I thought Spagnuolo had a great game plan. And when Tom Brady was starting to figure things out, if you notice at the end of the second quarter, they got that touchdown before the end of the half. So I thought Spags did a good job of adjusting and allowing the offense to really shut the door in the second half.
Frank Clark did give me a little PTSD tonight because he went offsides, and I had to hear in a Tom Brady game offsides number 55. And so I got taken back to the AFC Championship game when D Ford did that. So that bothered me there. But we got another kind of hypothetical here from James Davis. Let's say the Giants come to the Chiefs, say they trade Kenny Golladay straight for MVS.
Oh, absolutely. Sign me up.
Oh, no.
Sign me up.
No.
Sign me up.
4 years, $72 million for Kenny Golladay, who's in the
your money
on the field with the Giants. I don't
right. It's not your money. You're right. How many years he got left on that contract? Like 1, 2?
Kenny Golladay?
Yeah, 2 years left on it.
It might be 3. Was he signed last year?
I think he was last year.
Oh no. Well, contract aside, I was just thinking player for player.
Player for player, I do it.
Yeah. But I wasn't thinking about the contract.
We got to think about stuff like that now. Thanks to Orlando Brown, we got to really delve into these contract situations.
We can talk about 57. We can have that conversation.
He did. He
wasn't a good game. It wasn't a good game for him. Not in pass blocking.
He got better late though. You saw him really had a really good pancake block towards the end of the game as the Chiefs had taken over. He did miss, I think, early on, and. But even week 1 against the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals got to Patrick Mahomes and hit him and knocked him around in that game while the Chiefs were marching up and down the field. It didn't really happen today. The Chiefs got the ball out quickly and succinct short routes that were gashing the Bucs. So, it wasn't Brown's best game. And Chris Collinsworth said, we all speculate he's hurt right now. And, so I don't think today was his worst day. I mean, maybe that was last week. Maybe this was an improvement. I don't know.
No, it wasn't his worst day. It damn sure wasn't his best though. If you look, Jamal Williams said this in Hard Knocks, and I say this to my boys that I coach. If you pissing like a puppy, then stay on the porch and let the big dogs eat. I don't want to hear about no injury excuses, especially when, and that's not to you, Clint. I'm just talking about Orlando Brown Jr., especially when you're trying to be a highest paid left tackle in the game when you're really a right tackle, but you're trying to be the highest paid left tackle in the game I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see 15 be in touch. Shaq Barrett got to him a couple times, and like I said, it was a fine performance, but not a performance that I expect from the highest paid left tackle.
Yeah, and he won't be. So we'll see what the Chiefs do at the end of this season. Franchise him again. Let him go. Try and franchise and trade. I doubt anyone would take that deal. Let's just kind of let the Chiefs do what they're going to do. Either let him walk or sign him to a big deal. James Davis comes in again. Man, I'm glad we won, but I can't wait till Spags is gone. Really seems like as soon as you get up by 10 plus points, he has the defense play off like the game is over. Brian? I see you laugh a look on your face.
Nah, man, I disagree with that. I think Spags is a great defensive coordinator, and you got to pick what you need to do against Tom Brady late in the game. You got to play soft covers. He's going to eat. He's going to keep the game close. He is. Very rarely do you see Tom Brady get blown out. We've done it once in 2014, but very rarely do you see that. And so I don't agree with that. I haven't seen any massive Chiefs leads get blown while Spags has been the defensive coordinator.
That's a good point. And you see that all over the NFL. And I think that to your point there, when the Chiefs went up 41-24, for all intents and purposes, the game was over. I tweeted that, okay, when it's 38-24, Tom Brady and the Bucs have time to march up and down the field twice and tie the game. But the Chiefs going up by 17, the math and the time did not work out any longer for that. So beyond that, Brian, like you said, you go into the soft zone, you let them complete passes over the middle for 8 yards. They go down the field. They scored again one time, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Because at that time, it's not the score that's the biggest deal. It's the time.
Yes.
The time is way more important than the score at that point.
I think Spagnuolo's been honestly a huge, I whenever we got hired, Noah and I were just like, we're tired of Andy Reid just hiring friends and old acquaintances to come in, and Bob Sutton was that. Now we thought Spags was Bob Sutton all over again. He didn't have the best track record, but I think the way that we reformed the defense in 19, and guys, we've had to do it again in 2022, this time with rookies and younger players, and I am here for it. I love to see these guys develop. They're going to give up some plays. Mike Evans, to me, is one of the top 5 most underrated receivers in NFL history. And if you look at his stats, you'll know what I'm saying. I think he's had like 9 straight years of 1,000 yards. And so you're going to have missteps. You're going to have big plays down the field. So I love to see these guys grow, and it's not going to be perfect, but as good as the AFC is offensively, you just got to let these guys go. And I think they're getting timely turnovers, and they're doing the things that you have to do to win. And so far through 4 games, it's a quarter of the season, this defense has greatly exceeded my expectations. I don't know about you guys.
It absolutely has. And I think really 2 big things that we're missing with this defense. We talk about all the great players that are on this defense. What about 2 players that aren't on this defense anymore? Ben Neiman and Dan Sorensen, and just how much that helps addition by subtraction with those 2.
Yeah, and how about the 2 players that are out that we don't even have right now? Willie Gay and Trent McDuffie. They haven't even sniffed the field the past couple games. So when the Chiefs get fully healthy on defense, and those guys are young too, it's gonna be something to see, man. I think this defense is gonna be good for some years to come.
Michael, Brian here was just cashing some receipts here on us. We're gonna let you do the same. So welcome to Chattin Up the Chiefs. If you got anything for Noah and I, we're here to take it. We're happy to do it.
We're eating some crow tonight.
Trust the process. That's all I have to say. Believe in Andy Reid and those guys fixing mistakes. They knew they made huge mistakes in Indy, so they came out and said, hey, we have to get it together. I don't know if he said, Bieniemy, I'm calling the plays. Let me show you what to do. But they came out, on fire. We got blessed by the football gods with the fumble and the kick return. And this is my thought before the season for the Chiefs to succeed. We don't have Tyreek Hill. We can't do all of that. But if we kind of took it back to the 2003 type Chiefs, with Priest Holmes, Tony Gonzalez, Eddie Kennison, where you play through your tight end as your best pass catcher, then you try to get the ball to whatever receivers are open that will make a play, and then you run the ball really well. And that's what the Chiefs showed tonight. And this type of balanced football with the defense that's making plays, with Trent McDuffie still on the way, man, this can be a tough squad.
Yeah, we mentioned some of that just right before you got on. Brian mentioned, we don't have Willie Gay out there, don't have Trent McDuffie, but so excited about the way the defense is performing. It's a quarter of the season. We have enough sample size to look at this. I think, Michael, you mentioned in the pregame, maybe it was Brian talking about Todd Haley and the it was Michael talking about the quarters of the season, and Vermeil used to look at that too. And I think it's important. And I think that you look at it, you sit here at 3-1, we would all have taken that. It does make the loss to Indy kind of more inexplicable because they're horrible still. They were last week, they were today, they're awful, and it makes no sense. But that's the NFL, and 3-1's great. You got the Raiders coming in, guys. I guess we can switch focus to that here in our last little bit of the show. Here as the Raiders come in with a win over the Broncos. They did impress me the way that their offense was able to kind of run today. Balanced attack. Carr was good. They're coming to Arrowhead. I could never pick the Raiders ever to beat the Chiefs. I'm sure not going to start now, but we got to like our chances coming in here to this Sunday here, Michael.
Is Michael? You there?
Oh, he might have lost my man's. Here, I'll take over at this point. Look, I got you. Look, Raiders were desperate today. They were 0-3, looking for their first win. I'll put it on that. I'm not. Look, I don't think the Raiders are in the Chiefs league at all. I think the Raiders are in that mid tier probably. I think the Chiefs are definitely a Super Bowl contender. The Raiders defensively, you trust them against this Chiefs offense that you saw tonight? Let me tell you something. When the Chiefs can run the ball for 37 times, just 37 times, period, it's going to be a win. That's not even Andy Reid football. That's when you're up by a lot and you're running the ball. But 189 yards on the ground, 5.1 yards per carry. Excuse me. Clyde, 19 for 92. Pacheco, 11 for 63. Those guys were rolling on the ground, and it was all due to that O-line. I will say, we just talked about Orlando Brown not being the highest paid left tackle and him being, leaky right, exactly, Michael, leaky and pass blocking. He was pretty good in run blocking tonight, as well as the rest of the guys, including Highway 77. But those interior three, I thought they did an outstanding job. Smith, Humphrey, and Tooney, I thought they were all great tonight. And a big reason why we were averaging 5.1 yards per carry and why Clyde almost cracked 100 yards. So if they can go out there and do that against those Raiders, slow down Crosby and slow down Chandler Jones on those outsides, take them completely out of the game, I love the Chiefs' chances. Just don't get in those passing situations where those guys can tee off.
We might have to go back a little bit, go back to this Bucks game, because we've got Jason Dunn joining us here, and we got to get his thoughts on what he saw tonight. An impressive victory for the Chiefs.
Oh, 100%. 100%. How's it going, fellas? Good victory.
Very good. Hey, Jason Dunn, we need you on those third and shorts, man. We are missing you out there really bad, fam.
Hey, and I gave a shout out to, your 03 team, the Dick Vermeer era. That's how the Chiefs, I feel, have to play to win games this year. Have to be very balanced, have to run the ball with an offensive line that's built towards running and playing through the passing game, through their tight end. What's your thoughts on that and their performance tonight?
No, look, I think you have a valid point. I mean, really, when you're talking about type of defense that you were looking at tonight, I say one of the keys to victory is you got to run right at them. Right. I mean, they're very, very fast defense. They're very fast sideline to sideline. But when you run straight at these guys, they got Vita V in the middle, of course, who's going to stuff up everything and block it up. Those guys did a tremendous job up front, man. Creed, Trey, Thuney, all those guys. And when you're talking about as far as making a statement after a game that they played like last week, this is it. They came, they were up for the challenge, and when they came up there, they bloodied their noses right up front, man. And I'm telling you, they controlled the offensive line of scrimmage, the line of scrimmage the entire night. They really did. And I was just looking over some of the pass blocking also too, and I seen actually Tampa Bay run a couple of the same stunts that Indianapolis did. Right? That's what you do. It's kind of copycat league. Do they make adjustments? Are they really watching film? And so McKinnon was actually in on one of the plays, and they blocked it. When I'm talking about textbook, getting the fit, giving Patrick a clean pocket where he can throw, it was perfect. Everybody just, you could tell the communication, the lanes and everything was a lot cleaner. It really was. And so, man, this, when you're talking about just having a physical game like this was a statement going down with a tight defense like this. and telling the entire league, we ain't scared of nobody. You don't care who it is. We're making a statement that we're still the best offensive line in football. It wasn't a fluke. Everybody was saying we're the guys.
There was a play in the third quarter. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was third and long. And Patrick had to scramble to his left to run for about 11 or 12 yards for a first down. And that they did a TE stunt, Jason Dunn. They did that exact stunt you were talking about where Shaq Barrett went on the inside and Orlando Brown, I think it was Tooney, they blocked it perfectly. So it's like you said, I know exactly what you're talking about. But check that play out in that third quarter, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I knew tonight was going to come down to the trenches. Like if the Chiefs would have got dominated up front, it would have been a long night offensively. And then same thing on the defensive side, Fournette would have went crazy. But because of the domination by the Chiefs in the trenches on both sides, it just showed us what we can be. Like I always said that I felt that this offensive line is a run blocking offensive line, but Andy wouldn't run the ball. So we couldn't see them at their best. But tonight, I wasn't the biggest fan of Pacheco, but man, I love seeing that guy run because he runs like he's running like his mama told him, you better be at the house in 15 minutes. And that's how he runs the ball. And it makes the Chiefs tough when they can run like that.
Yeah, and Jason, we have a tight end touchdown, direct snap to Noah Gray. I don't know if you ever were the recipient of one of those. I know not here in Kansas City because I would remember that. But
3 tight ends scored.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, Noah Gray scored, Kelsey scored, and Jody Forson got a tutty.
That's right. Yeah. Now, I was never a recipient of anything like that. We weren't as quite as creative, if you will. We like keeping the ball in the hands of Trent Green. So Trent was the better guy keeping the ball in his hands. I didn't want to be back there, catching the snap, man. My knees would have been over at Buckland, man, for real. I don't shoot. Let them other guys do it.
We could get Brian Waters a quarterback sneak.
No, I would have got behind B. Waters now. Anytime, shoot. Yeah. But look, like kind of talking about Pacheco, this is his game. This is the type of game that you got a guy like that in here to do, really. I mean, you're talking about running north and south, downhill, the physical runner, run behind your pads. This is the type of game that you need to do it on, right? And so sometimes when you do like the stretch plays and, some of the sweeps, look, those linebackers just going to run you down. That's what they want you to do. So, right, let's string you all the way out so they can come in and get lanes and make plays. Other than that, let's just come off the football and hit you in the mouth. And so you see that. They hate that. When you come and put hands on folks, Trey Smith leaning on people, they don't like that, man. It's not a good night for them. And so you see what it was, 189 yards rushing. I mean, come on, man. Like, seriously. I mean, you had to think about Andy and Bieniemy committed tonight and saying, we're going to run the football. Okay. And I can imagine what it was like in the meetings all week, right? I know Andy comes to the podium and he's, really kind of, solemn and, oh, yeah, we're going to get it. I guarantee in the meeting, he's lighting them jokers up. Yes. I guarantee it.
Yeah. And I love the
real
fact
Chiefs team. Please stand up because we came in sleepy against Indianapolis, almost like they thought they could just roll the ball out there and get a victory. And then they come here and there's motivation from Super Bowl 55, Mahomes versus Brady. Mahomes, Kelsey, Andy Reid, they're letting the young guys know that weren't there. The story of what happened in Super Bowl 55, how much this means to guys like Mahomes and Kelsey. And so, will the real Chiefs team please stand up? Can we play up to these guys like the Colts and not come in sleepy? Can that happen?
It's the headset, Noah. Like Jason Dunn said. Look, all week I know Andy Reid was super focused after all of the chatter with Chris Jones situation, the chatter with the halftime situation. And by the way, Eric Bieniemy was right. Because we saw at halftime almost the exact same situation it was last week, and you saw Patrick get hurt. He got bit backwards. So can we please give Eric Bieniemy a little credit on that end? Number one, and number two, I thought tonight how are you an NFL team? I don't give a damn if you're behind 17 points or however much they were in the first half. How do you only run the ball 6 times in an NFL game? Chiefs won this game not only on the field did they physically outmatch them, but I thought that schematically and in the headset, that's where the Chiefs won the game. You run the ball 6 times and you get 3 yards. You're one-dimensional at that point, and at that, like any NFL team could beat you on that night when you run the ball like that.
And just like the Chiefs-Colts matchup, the game started off putting them, behind the 8 ball with the fumble, was led to the early score. The Buccaneers couldn't play the type of football they wanted, with a 0-0 game and stuff like that, because the Chiefs jumped out to a lead and got the confidence flowing and things like that. So, sometimes things happen like it did in Indianapolis, but I think today's Chiefs team is the team that people should expect to see Sunday, every Sunday that they play against Kansas City.
Well, Jason, we're down to just a few minutes left here on the show. We kind of brought it up right as you were getting on here. Raiders come in next week. No rest for the wicked, man. You got a divisional opponent coming in here. They just got their first win. And, they started 0-3. And, the Chiefs, the record speaks for itself. I mean, the Chiefs win percentage over the Raiders since the 90s is 70%. It's unfathomable.
Love it.
So
thank you, Marty.
It's definitely started there. So where does this, leave this game coming in here? Obviously, another game is going to be Monday Night Football. So another chance in prime time, probably not going to overlook this or come in sleepy to that. You would not think.
Yeah, no, listen, look, it's Raider week, and the guys understanding what it is. And so, when it goes to that building, everybody knows. Look, you got the people who are sweeping up the halls, and everybody's hating the Raiders. Believe me, when that week comes in, nobody has no love whatsoever for the Raiders. All right, so if your kids like the Raiders, man, you might have to send them to bed without no supper. Your wife, man, you might not even, give us some money or whatever. I don't know what it is, but it's one of those things that's established, man, like one of the all-time longest rivalries in the NFL. And I just absolutely love it. And so, they got a victory. It was their first victory this week. They probably don't know how to act. So that's the thing about it, for real. But, look, we'll let them celebrate this week, and then we'll send them back losing again like they was the prior weeks. So
yeah, I mean, this is going to be a big one for Michael. I want to talk to you about this because the Raiders do come in here. They do get that first victory, but the Chiefs dominate them. We just saw what the Chiefs did on primetime. Are we worried about the Raiders at all? Josh Jacobs went off. Devontae Adams looked like he was getting a better chemistry with Derek Carr. Do the Raiders have a chance at all here?
Yeah, because they have talent over there. Like they're not all bums. Some of the, Josh McDaniels is learning still to be a head coach. So I think they're going to be better as the weeks go on. It's just tough that after this win, they have to come to Kansas City. I think it would have been better for them if it was in Las Vegas. But they're going to put up a fight. It's not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be a really good game.
I'll tell you
love it, Noah.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you one thing they're not going to do. They ain't going to come in here and step on that at Arrowhead no more.
Oh yeah,
man! I was just gonna get on that. I was patiently waiting.
Jonathan Galway did that, I believe.
Yes, I was like, I'm begging for Jonathan Abrams or one of these bums to come dance on that logo, please. Even if it's painted on. Did they take the red end zones out in the arrowhead in the middle? Did they take that out?
Yeah, we got to leave those.
But look. Please, I'm begging you guys to come down. I bet you they won't do that anymore. What was the first play in that game? Wasn't it a fumble touchdown from Mike Hughes? Yeah,
Mike Hughes.
Yeah.
Look, guys, look, y'all know I'm not like this. I'm not one to come out and make these these vicious rants and these big expectations. But look, man, this Monday Night Football in Arrowhead, baby. We got these Raiders coming in. Man, please. It is gonna be an ass chewing this Monday night. Okay. I'm going all out with it. Nobody hates the Raiders more than me. I'm telling you right now, the Chiefs are winning by at least 20.
The Chiefs are 15-3 against the Raiders here in the Andy Reid era. So, the signs point to it. Last year, the Raiders made the playoffs, and the Chiefs won by like a combined 90-13 or whatever it was. So, yeah, and maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves. We all did this leading up to the Colts game. So I'm trying to temper it a little bit. We'll see as a Tuesday comes along for Arrowhead Allies, guys, we have a chance to sort of sleep
Sunday
on
Night Football last year. We put 240 burgers on the Raiders last year. Come on now.
Who's the quarterback for the Raiders? Is it still Derek Carr?
Oh.
So you know what that means? I guarantee Chiefs gonna take care of business, man. It's
Are
gonna
we
be
going
a
to get
tough.
Snead 3 weeks in a row on a corner blitz fumble by Derek Carr? I think we are.
How about 20
can
weeks in a
guarantee.
row, all the way up to Super Bowl 57 in Arizona? Bring the corner blitz every week. They can't stop it.
Man,
Well, this has just turned into, I mean, Jason, you know, you were in this rivalry. I remember in the early 2000s there, so many classics, like going up against some guys like Tommy Kelly there at the very end, having to punch it in from the 1 yard line. 05, Larry Johnson, you guys go for it on the last play,
Yes.
win or lose, and you go right over Tommy Kelly.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Right after Trent Green's dad had died that day before. That was,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. Yeah, I remember the energy just in that alone. And this is what I was talking about, just having that attitude of just of not giving up. You know, like a winning team is going to find out a way to win. You're going to find out how to get a touchdown. And so I remember that, you know, on the goal line, I knew I was going to score with my man. I already knew that. And so I'm looking at everybody else in the huddle. I'm like, I already know Will's winning, Case is winning, Brian's winning. You know, I'm just check. So it wasn't even, you know, a thought like as far as like a doubt that we weren't going to score. We knew we was going to score. So, the like hearing Arrowhead erupt like that, man, oh my goodness. That's one of my favorite plays. People was asking, I was like, man, that's, you know, I played almost 170 games. That's a lot of games, but that one right there,
Yeah.
woo, that just brings back memories. Just being in that atmosphere. Just remember that place. Remember that time, man. It was crazy.
There's something about that silver and black, guys. There is something
Yeah.
about it. Brian, we talked about some of our favorite uniforms and just growing up, seeing, you know, we're good friends with George Atkinson, who played for the Raiders, Mr. Raider himself. He's a good friend of ours. Maybe we can get him to come on with us on Arrowhead Allies. I'm sure he'd love to do it. He, you know, that silver and black, it means something. And to me, growing up, NFL films, John Facenda, The Autumn Wind is a Raider, John Madden, you know, Fred Bolitnikoff. I mean, George Blanda, just something about it, man.
I hate him.
And I hate it to this day. And so
I hate him.
it means something, though, to this franchise. It means something to the Hunt family.
It does, because I remember every single Raider game in the Dick Vermeil era. Let's go back, Jason Dunn. The first Dick Vermeil game ever as a Chiefs head coach. Week 1 versus the Raiders.
Won that game.
Yeah, that was when Woodson got a pick 6, right, to end the game, I think. Let's see, 02 was the first time that we had beat them in a while. It was a real rainy game, Raiders at Chiefs. 03, was that the Christmas game, or was the Christmas game 04?
That was 04. 03 was the
03 was the field goal at the end.
Short. Yeah, Tim Brown stopped short on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, and then we just did 05, and then 06, Jared Page made a breakup at the end. Y'all remember that?
Yep.
Yeah. I remember the 06 Raiders game too. Don't remember the 07 one.
That's because they had Marcus Russell and they started beating us inexplicably. Yeah.
We choose not to remember the 2007 season
exactly
after Larry Johnson got hurt, but it's all good though. And that was the Hard Knock season too.
See, we remember them all, Jason. That's what we do here. Well, guys, heading into this week, this is a big boost for this team. And
hey, Clint, before we close, can I ask one more question?
Yes, sir.
Jason Dunn, I've always wondered, why did you wear the Revolutionary helmet? Oh, that was the ugliest helmet of all time. Why that helmet? How come you just couldn't get the Priest Holmes 3
I like the
Ks
Revies.
helmet?
I like the Revies.
You know what? And it's kind of funny. I was looking at something about Antonio Brown, but when you kind of get used to the helmet and it feels good on you, like you just got to stick with it, right?
Yeah.
And that was like my helmet, man. I liked it. I was just like, nah, I'm gonna stick with this thing right here, man.
Right.
I had really no concussions. I didn't really feel any, so that was good for me. And sometimes you put a new helmet on, man, it feels like you got 1,000 pounds on your head, you know.
So it's like a good pair of draws, you know, a good pair of draws. You put them on, bow, you just
right, yeah.
Antonio Brown wouldn't know about that in the Dubai hotel. But.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no Antonio Brown jokes allowed, guys. We got to get that man some help.
We'll make sure everybody, before we close off here, I'm cutting you off again, Clint, so that's for the second time. But before we close, make sure that you check out Chief Concerns. Jason Dunn does a great job over there with Marcus Dash. They do some great work. They've got some post-game themselves. They've got a show. that comes out during the week. They've got Lance Twidwell, who we have here at Starcade Media, doing some stuff with them as well. So Chief Concerns, make sure you guys are checking that out, as well as what we do here at Starcade Media.
And Jason, we had a blast with you on the hang earlier, the first half of the game. Thanks for joining us on that. That was awesome. And Dante Hall, Simeon Rice, LeGarrette Blunt, Tyrone Woodley. Man, it was a good time.
Great time. Great time, man.
Nobody was realizing the Chiefs were up 28-10. And I'm like, guys, look up at the screen. We got a Chiefs route in progress here. So we got through it, though. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us here on Chatting Up the Chiefs, Starcade Media post-game report. We'll see you guys Tuesday night for Arrowhead Allies. And I think we're going to be in a little better mood than last week, guys. Thank you so much.